The topic I chose to speak about within my collection elaborates on how social media and technology are corrupting our society. Social media was announced in 1997 by National Science Foundation, launching the first nationwide digital networking, emailing, and chatting simultaneously. However, how has this style of technology become an influence on society? The usage of excessive social media and technology has a negative impact on individuals' health, social isolation, and online versus reality. The purpose of my selection of this specific topic was because I was diagnosed with anxiety/panic disorder and depression in 2019. Throughout this time in my life, I was constantly trying to meet up to society's standards. Perfect physical features, communicating in the coolest way possible, seeking the latest trends, prioritizing the text messages I needed to respond back to or tweet. After falling within this dark revolving door cycle, I lost myself. However, as of today, I try to express my perspective on the issue of social isolation and how letting go of social media and technology can have a positive impact on yourself. The photographs, new media, and paintings I chose to display all have different aspects of how individuals are socially isolated from the real world. Specific themes I'd focus on throughout this process are how to understand my audience and how each image can be seen within a different perception. The juxtapositions of these images are the social isolation these individuals have by social media. A young boy gazing at his cell phone in the dark, a woman scanning the street in the fear of COVID-19, and how she is socially isolating herself from the real world. The individuals on the train isolating themselves while staring at a screen as well. The common feature each of these images display is the outcome technology and social media are affecting our society in a negative way. As a young woman, I feel my research will reach out to an audience that grasps the ages between 18 and maybe late 20s. Because of my extended research on social isolation, young adults tend to have the tendency to keep up with the latest trends, which conflict around social media. The specific audience can create a future for young children by knowing there is more to life than a screen of entertainment. Visual culture is extending individuals' knowledge on the presented images and how we as a society can make this change, the idea of online versus reality. I intend to persuade humanity's perspective on visually seeing the beauty which surrounds us on a day-to-day basis, the nature of the natural world. The image I'm going to be speaking about is Max Cavalieri's collection, Loneliness. As you can see in the top left-hand corner, it's Max Cavalieri. That's a photograph of him. And then the two images on the right are another part of his collection of Loneliness. So the photograph titled Loneliness by Max Cavalieri has been inspired by a personal experience he shared on Gallery Roulette. Max Cavalieri was using his phone to navigate around a town in his home country of Italy when he accidentally walked straight into a metal pole. The photographer and art director was so absorbed in his phone that he hadn't noticed the hazards around him. As he stated, I was so focused on this little shining screen that I couldn't see the reality that surrounds me. Max Cavalieri is a gentleman from Italy, as well as a photographer who currently works with newspapers and magazines worldwide. A passion he represents within his biography is photographing the Italian Cancer Society, expressing real-world images occurring within our society. In his collection, he shares the propaganda of social isolation and intends to gravitate his audience visually as to how our society is corrupt. The image portrays a setting on a train that seems to be a rapid transit with multiple individuals gazing into their telephone. In this specific type of setting, individuals are constantly hopping on and off the train to get to a nearby location. The people in this photograph are the main subject because their faces are distorted into stretching into their cell phone screen. The dimension in his art consists of a 70 by 50 by 3 centimeters and has an effect to stretch the individual's faces into the screen. However, the woman closest to the shot of the frame of the image is wearing earbuds that determines she is isolating herself as well from the individuals who surround her. Although it portrays the individuals isolating themselves by either on their cell phone and having earbuds in. One single man on this train is standing, observing the world around him. I looked at this as more irony because out of the 5 people in this photograph, only one of them is not isolating themselves from the world. The scale plays an important role in the photograph because the focal point is the two individuals, and the distance becomes faint with the scenery. I feel that the form is an important part of this specific image because of the black and white contrast. The dark color clothing surrounds these individuals, however, the form creates a realistic image that stands out compared if it had darker lighting throughout. This strong, insightful image shares. The excessive use of this technology has led us to an addiction to these tools that have long since replaced our downtime. Adding that mobile technology means we are witnessing an erosion of our own offline lives in favor of our online experience. He asked, to what extent are we willing to giving up this physical identity? I believe this quote is a good representation of Cavallari's work because it questions the audience's usage of technology. Physical identity is something that truly expresses our true identity to the individuals who surround us. We are continuously losing our identities because of our addiction we have towards meeting society's expectations within social media. The documentary photographer, another piece of Cavallari's award-winning collection, Four Walls, demonstrates the isolation society had emotionally felt towards the coronavirus pandemic. Based on his approach with the collections, I feel as though this specific artist is trying to remind individuals that there is so much more to the world than the constant addiction to our cell phones. Specifically, throughout this pandemic, there was more than just sitting at home and binge-watching every TV series known to man. Social media has continuously escalated over the past 10 years and is brainwashing young children's minds by depending on their source of technology for entertainment. Cavallari intends to spread awareness of the physical and negative mental effects this source is having on the world with its photos. The collection Loneliness analyzes how dependent we are on our cell phones and how it continuously surrounds us on a day-to-day basis. For example, most educational facilities require students to own a laptop or some source of technology to submit or review specific assignments, as well as the workforce requires owning a cell phone to send emails, speak to customers, etc. Therefore, we may never have the chance to enjoy the true beauty of the world and distance ourselves from this source of technology.